spider. I just met her.
Hello, you're listening to the Slurmcast, a podcast for no reason. Today we will be discussing Futurama, Season 3, Episode 8. That's Lobstertainment, with your host, Tommy Rulo.
How's it going?
Pete Woodward.
That's me.
And I'm Rick Horchie. Joining us today is our special guest, Sarah Isenhart.
Welcome back to the show, Sarah. That was great. I talked right over you when you were greeting us.
I'm used
Fantastic. I tried to decide if your intro was zoidy enough to not be anti-Semitic.
Take your pick. That was Hank Azaria doing Harold Zoid.
Was that him doing the voice?
Yeah, isn't that awesome?
I saw he was a guest voice, but I never put that together.
So that was your impression of somebody doing Hank Azaria doing Harold Zoid.
It started off as that grade school "Good morning, Mrs. So-and-so" thing that you know, that sing-songy, and then it started feeling Zoidbergish, and then I realized that I can't do it well, so then I was like, stop, and then I did. And here we are, guys.
We are. So we can
We're
try
here.
that again. Second time guest, Sarah Isenhart. It's wonderful to have you back.
Hi, thank you.
Thank you.
Spring is finally
No,
sprung
thank you.
here in Cleveland, Ohio, right? Oh, I meant to check this before we started, so maybe while we're talking, I'll look. But I think this might be right around the year anniversary of our very first record. Like, we may actually be doing this show for over a year, if not now, very soon.
Well, go ahead, take your time, look it up.
Oh, you know
Those
what?
of you at home, find something near you, make a game.
Yeah, look, gamifying your life it's a life hack to make you accomplish goals.
Doing what to your life?
Gamifying it.
Gamifying? Oh, yeah.
Like creating arbitrary goals with the tasks that you do to then try and beat them. Like, really, it's something that Seymour Skinner did when he was pinned under that file cabinet. Yeah. He dribbled a basketball to see how many times he could dribble it in an hour.
Yeah.
And then he tried to see if he could beat that.
And then he made a rocket out of something. Remember that?
I think it was like diet soda and Mentos or something like that.
It was like a churro or something, or like a candy thing. I can't remember.
I mean, never mind. We're close, but we're not there yet.
Well, happy anniversary to you guys.
Yeah, happy early anniversary. Someone should have brought flowers in a couple weeks. The Jumbotron cartoon this week, I think it was Felix. If it wasn't Felix, it might have been our favorite racist cartoon, Bosco.
It was our favorite racist cartoon, Bosco.
But here's the thing. He was...
Sarah, do you know about this Bosco character?
Just from your podcast
Okay.
that I've listened to.
That's as much as I know from this podcast.
Sarah's familiar with all different other kinds of racism, so she doesn't need to be on top of all of them.
I thought that's what you do.
Well, it's a full-time job. But anyway, this cartoon was basically like the show-stopping scene from the new Spider-Man movie trailer, where he's holding together the Staten Island ferry with webs and pure will and super spider strength.
Dude, when I saw that trailer, I literally went like, whoa.
Right. Well, they stole it from Bosco. Because Bosco was doing the same thing with, I think, a train.
Yeah, because it was Boxcar
And Bosco
Blues.
stole it from Hamlet. Yeah, we get it.
Well, there was that commercial with Jean-Claude Van Damme,
Huh?
and he was on two trucks in the desert.
Oh, yeah. No, that was it Trucks? Yeah, and he had his leg split. Yeah, I forgot about that. Oh, you said commercial, and I was trying to think of what advertisement he was in, but I mean, it was for a movie.
Was it?
No, I think it was for like a car.
No, that was a movie. Was it a commercial?
I don't remember. I just remember him splitting his legs in Time Cop.
I feel like he did it in a couple things, and maybe he did it in this commercial.
He did it in every single movie he was ever in.
But Time Cop is where he jumped up on the counter and did the splits on the counter.
I thought Jean-Claude Van Damme, did I say that right? Doing the splits was the same as like Steven Seagal doing this jobby where he like sticks out his pinky.
For those of you at home, Pete and I are putting our fingers together to make a vagina.
Basically, that's more of a Sammy Hagar move from the 5150
No, I meant the thing
era.
where we do this and link our hands together like in grade school.
I don't know.
Anybody?
I know what you're talking about.
Okay, Jesus, God.
I think cute cootie shots.
Cootie shots.
Here, stick your finger in here.
Like in there?
Yeah.
What does that do?
That's a cootie shot.
You just gave me a cootie shot?
I did.
But that wasn't like a shot. I would think a shot would be like
A jab.
needle or something.
I didn't make it up.
Oh.
I don't know.
I never. Do you guys ever hear that?
It's a very feminine kind of violence.
If you want to see what they just did, look up cootie shots on the internet.
And after you get past all of the horrible images and videos, there might be an actual explanation of what Sarah just did.
And take your pick of which one it was.
I mean, just so you know you're on the right one, everyone here is fully clothed and it only involved fingers. So, I mean, that should winnow it down to at least 17%, right? I don't know. Anyway, I'm kind of disappointed in how many times Bosco shows up in these Jumbotron cartoons.
It's free.
I understand that it's free, but like...
It's like a split second, and it's free.
You know what else is free? Nazi propaganda films. Those are also public domain, probably. I'm just saying, there's plenty...
I'm going to start using the audio for the beginning of this podcast just to spite you. And then when people complain, I'm going to be like, it's free.
It's free. We're all angling for jobs in the new administration.
It has nothing to do with what they believe in as a cartoon. It's just free.
That seems like such a cop-out answer.
Let's find out. I want to find out who picked all of those for that.
All right, start tweeting
Let's do
the
that.
principals. The other Eric Kaplan, not that one, but the other one. I liked this episode. I think to an extent, but I also felt some of it was sort of like this was one where I was happy to see a lot of the characters show up that were in it, and they were sort of fun. But I think the story overall was kind of weak.
I'm not a fan of this episode. I mean, it's okay, but
for
I
as
don't
much
really...
Zoidberg as it has in it, you would expect it to be better.
There's like a whole lot of jokes in the beginning, and then like nothing, and then some jokes about Fry and Leela, and then that's it.
Yeah, it's
Sarah,
sort of,
general reaction overall.
I didn't like this episode at all.
And you still watched it 3 times.
Well, I was really drunk once.
So 4 times.
Did this
And she was doing research. Research doesn't have to be fun.
It's better if it is.
Exactly.
But it also kind of answers that question that you guys ask about, like, who could carry a
Spin-off?
A spinoff? Well, I still contend that a Zoidberg spinoff would be fun. I don't think a Zoidberg and Zoid would be great. Now, young Zoid, young Harold Zoid, when he was like making those silent films and doing God knows what to young starlets and whatnot, and probably being quite debaucherous, that might be a fun show to watch because that was actually funny.
You know when the copyright of A Close Shave was?
When?
2922. That's when silent holograms were big.
Interesting. I saw the Roman numerals, and I
researched it.
Was that research fun, or was it not fun?
I googled Roman numeral to real numbers.
Interesting. Well,
Not that Roman numerals aren't real numbers.
Are you sure? Maybe they weren't.
I couldn't
Roman
think of what they were
numerals.
called. What are they?
dude? It's like sometimes numbers.
The
aren't
Mary
even
Tyler
real
Moore
numbers.
numbers.
Man.
What are the numbers we
Numbers
use?
Are
What
like
are they?
letters?
What are they called?
You know,
Aramaic.
Aramaic. Yes.
So the episode starts off at the comedy simulator, right?
Yep.
I was trying to figure out what. I mean, like, because all of the comedy clubs tend to start with comedy in their name, so you don't get confused about what they are.
Mhm.
I don't know what the simulator
The
part
Ha Ha
was.
Hut.
Go Bananas, the Funny Bone.
Helium. Is that it?
That's one. That's a chain. Hilarities, Pickwick and
That's
Frolic Theater, which is actually right here in Cleveland, Ohio, and maybe one of the best comedy clubs in the country. So if you're in the neighborhood, go check it out. Anyway, the MC for the night, was that the same guy from Trisol, or are Trisolians...
Same guy.
You're sure?
Well, I mean, I think it's supposed to be. I
Or
think that's the
is it
idea.
just like they're a race
What
of
do you think?
aliens that's renowned
you
for
think?
being comedians?
Tom? You look like you have some. Tom, you look like you have something to say. I certainly do.
It's a reoccurring character, and it's the same person.
What's his name?
I don't remember.
You could have made it up, and I would have believed you.
Hoblobdob?
Yeah, I would believe that.
I don't know. I don't remember any of the name of the Trisolians.
Frank Lafowitz.
Okay.
Bobcat Waterman.
No, it was Goldberg, Zoidberg's.
It's Bobcat Zoidberg, and I love the fact that they added that. And I know on a previous episode I explained the whole etymology of the Bobcat name, and then you edited it out. I'm not going to recap it here.
Here we go again.
But I think it's interesting that. Do you think Zoidberg called himself that, or that they just slapped that on him as he was coming up to the stage?
I feel like he just came up with it on his own.
Interesting.
He's not funny. And he also used like the humor of Yakov Smirnoff or whatever.
So you're suggesting that Yakov Smirnoff isn't funny? Because he's fucking hilarious in the 80s when we were living under the specter of nuclear war. Maybe it's time for him to have a career resurgence. What do you think? He's killing it in Branson, Missouri.
With everybody just referencing him for now.
But I almost feel... I have mixed feelings about him. I think he's someone whose act became a parody of itself. Sort of
like Andrew Dice Clay.
Or Larry the Cable Guy or
him.
something like that. But he didn't have the wild success of Larry the Cable Guy.
In my country, podcast listens to you.
Yes. But he's also...
It is creepy. And pretty much in Russia, that's probably what happens.
Everything listens to everything. But I liked how in the establishing scene in the comedy simulator, somebody was, I think it was the MC, was telling a joke, and buried in the laugh track was a woo.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, I love when those pop up. It was like the same noise Fry makes when they do the Married with Children homage in another episode. I think with Alcazar and Leela on that planet, Fry did one of those. But then not only is it amateur comic night, it's amateur valet night. Just the cars were getting all smashed up because they didn't know how to drive them. It was great. Yeah. That was maybe one of the sharpest jokes in the whole show this week.
Huh.
Yeah.
Besides the hologram being funny.
A close shave was really good. That was
I've always liked that. Just,
sir, you forgot your hat.
So at the morning recap, Hermes just lays into Zoidberg again. You're a crazy penniless lobster doctor. You have no business telling jokes. I get tingles whenever I see Hermes lay into him. It's totally unfounded and unfair in a lot of the cases, but he's so mean to him in such a really nice way. I don't know. As long as this show goes on, I hope I never lose that feeling when Hermes gets mad at him, because it's one of the few things that brings me consistent joy.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for someone else to say something because I didn't even write any of that stuff down.
What, that part we were...
Yeah.
The holodisc, though?
What?
No,
that's where I stopped, and then I moved on because even that part.
Wait, what do you mean? Where did you start?
What I'm talking about is just that small bit where Hermes says something to Zoidberg or whatever. I didn't even write any of that down, so I don't even know where to go now.
You mean when the meeting opens up in the morning? That's what you're saying?
Yeah, my next note is all the way to about Harold Zoid, so...
What is it? How it's never come up before that Zoidberg's related to him?
No, my next thing is Giant Club for Planet Express ship. When they go to Los Angeles?
Yes. You skipped all the way to that?
Right. So I'm just waiting for anyone else to say anything.
My next note is, I see you're with Mr. Stallone. So I might have skipped a couple things.
Roll credits.
I thought the top half of the episode was actually better than the rest, so I'm surprised that you waited to take notes.
Well, I don't know.
It.
Here's what I think about the whole episode. Before we start to dissect it, I was really excited to watch this because my memories of it were, oh man, so much Zoidberg. Who else is in this a lot that I was excited about? Somebody remember
Calculon?
my memories for me. Yes,
Calculon's
thank you. That's it.
in it
Yeah,
a
and
lot.
Calculon. So I was like, this is going to be great. And then it's just, it's kind of a mediocre episode. I don't think it's terrible. It's not to me, it's not a bad one like some of the ones that we've done that I'm like, that sucked. It was a terrible episode. But not a lot of great lines. Just kind of a okay story. I mean, it's not bad.
I thought there were great lines in there, though.
There were not any, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't like jam-packed like the, fucking Day the Earth Stood Stupid and, Roswell That Ends Well and
when Zoidberg gets his own ink.
Yeah, I mean, it was good. It was a good Futurama joke. That's a Futurama-ish type.
It faked me out because at first I thought he was just reaching into his jacket to pull out an ink bottle. But when later they showed Harold Zoid replying to him and he had the empty bottle and stuck it in it, like squirted into it. I mean, that was pretty gross and great.
I feel like there's a picture of you on comedy writers' rooms that just says Rube, and they're like, "This is the guy we're writing for."
You think?
It's you, and you're really happy with 2 thumbs up.
The very first. I just picture you looking at a picture of Bender and just steam coming out of your ears and like a confused look on your face. This episode, like.
They're like, we're writing for Happy Pete, but we're not writing for shoes 2 sizes too small Pete.
They're doing the opposite. They're doing more of this and less of this.
The very first fan Futurama website, which is it's still in existence, go to Futurama.com. And Futurama.com. And this was voted one of the worst episode during
at
the
time of
broadcast
the airing,
season.
Yeah,
I believe it.
And it's just I always skip over this episode when I'm just randomly watching episodes.
I always remember the holophoner part, and I'm like, oh man, this is a good episode, and that's all I think of. And then I'm like,
there was a holophoner part,
or
what
am I trying
to think hologram?
The holodisc.
What did he call it? The old 78 something.
Yes.
Other?
78 RPM holodisc.
And that's a reference to, does anybody?
78 RPM record albums.
Okay.
Yes.
Those are the ones that Robert Crumb used to like to listen to.
But this one was 78 million.
Oh, I don't know. Oh, was it?
78 million RPM.
One of our friends.
That's why it was so big.
One of our friends put out a record, somebody in Cleveland, and I got it. And I'm like, oh, this is great. And they have the thing where you have to switch the speed or whatever. And I haven't had to do that since I was a little kid, and I had the little story record.
45?
Yeah. And so I started listening to it, and I was like, "This is pretty good. This is some kind of dark drudgy And I'm like, then the vocal started. I'm like, wait a second. I turned it. I'm like, oh, well, this is also very good.
R. Crumb is still alive, everybody. Hopefully, he doesn't die before this episode comes out.
Yeah, when did they stop making 78 from the 60s, late 50s, something like that?
Probably. Wait, don't you work at a record store / record label that sells used records?
Yeah, I'm just asking. I don't know, but I do know. That's when they
just make up an answer. I'll believe you because you're the one that works at the record store.
No, that's when they.
If you were going to knowledge shame some pudgy, bearded record collector that came in and tried to mansplain it to you, what would you tell him to shut him down?
I'd probably just shove a 78 in his face.
Wouldn't it break? Aren't they brittle?
His teeth would break.
The rest of that is then I'd shove a 45 in his face. Bang.
Oh.
But somebody just told me that the higher end Audio Technica turntables that are coming out, you can actually put a 78 speed on them. You just have to also change the needle or something.
I saved it. This beer tried to explode, and I sucked it up, and then it tried to come back out again, and we're good.
Oh, Jesus. Please don't lick your hand and then wipe the table like you did last time.
Did I do that?
Yes.
Sounds like something I would do.
What's wrong with that?
Well, then we had to clean it twice. It would be different if you did it, Sarah.
There's a hack if you manually turn a 78 on your turntable and use a cat claw as the needle. You can get it to work. Try it out,
Did we do
folks.
that?
The
I
hard
don't know,
part,
man. It sounds like something we would do. We did a lot of stuff with our cats.
the hard part is holding the cat still and pushing its
right.
mouth open so that the sound comes out.
Oh my god.
That's not even what I pictured. The sound
No,
coming out
me
of the cat's
neither.
mouth. That's
Way better. That's way better.
You just improved that 1,000 times.
I know, and it's abusive to cats, so win-win. I feel like the Zoidberg mentioning his long-lost famous relative is almost like redoing the same plot as Luck of the Friarish, where it's like all of a sudden he's like, oh, we never put this together. Like, don't you think poor penniless Zoidberg would have mentioned that before just to try and garner the respect that having a famous celebrity would?
It
if
is
he's
a very
much of a schlub?
TV-ish type, like,
Yeah.
oh, my long lost.
Here's my identical twin cousin from Meepos.
It makes sense that Calculon was in this episode
They
because
did
that was a
on
very
Twin
soap
Peaks,
opera.
too.
Oh yeah. Oh, that was the most when that show was on, I would like catch a little bit of it as a little kid. I didn't get it, and I was just like, "There's that show everybody talks about." And when I went to rewatch it as like a young person in like high school or whatever, when it got to that, I was like, I know the show's like genius or whatever, but like, is that a joke that it's the cousin with the blonde wig or whatever, or brunette wig or
Yeah.
I saw bits and pieces of Twin Peaks when it first came out. Then my girlfriend at the time was really into it, and she wanted to go see Firewalk with me, and it was one of the most traumatizing cinema experiences I've ever had. I think now I'd be fine watching it. It would probably make a lot more sense, but like the dwarf in the red room speaking backwards in gibberish was just too much for me to parse out when I was in high school. Like, I really had a difficult time with it.
Yeah, I don't know how or why. Well, I do because I was like an only child, and there wasn't a lot of like bend in my direction from my family. So they watched Twin Peaks, so I also watched it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I also had to watch like L.A. Law.
Oh, yeah,
and,
me
like,
too.
all kinds of stuff like that.
Yeah.
There wasn't like
Well, that was
"Here's
back
some
then when it was just
Raffi."
here's the
There was never any of that.
the 3 or 4 channels or
What
whatever.
about
and it was like-
Homicide: Life on the Streets?
That was definitely not on in the.
is that an older show?
I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know.
I think what
Every time I think of L.A. Law, I think of Homicide: Life on the Streets.
isn't Homicide is the show that introduced to the world
Murder.
no Detective Munch.
Yeah, things were going okay.
Until that
and-
TV show invented murder.
Well, but Munch, like Homicide,
I don't know.
Then
who
we had to
Munch is.
invent.
You don't know who
forensic
Munch
files to
is?
solve
I
it.
don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know who much.
All I was gonna say is that as far as Twin
wait,
Peaks
no,
go,
shut up.
I
Hang
never-
on. Munch is the character who ties together Homicide, SVU, The Wire, X-Files, and I think like maybe two
I know
other
what- I
shows
know what you're
all
talking
into the
about
same
from
universe.
just-
It's Richard Belzer
Yeah.
played the same character in the same universe on all of those shows.
Yeah.
So the X-Files
Oh.
takes place in the same universe as SVU.
real life.
Yeah, exactly. And The Wire, also real life.
Do you think Munch is a? Do you think Richard Belzer is a character Munch plays though in this TV show we call
Slurmcast.
Does he show up?
.com.
on Futurama?
I think he's been on The Simpsons.
Has he been on Futurama?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe the head.
Well,
Maybe.
you just
Who knows?
found out he existed. How could you be? So
I
sure?
just can't believe
I
you've
know
never,
who Richard Belzer is.
Have you never
just
seen
didn't
Law and
know-
Order
I know-
SVU?
I've seen it, and I'll
He's
tell you what.
Ice-T's partner.
Yeah, in the original Law and Order.
No, I watched the original Law and Order.
He was on that too, I think.
He was the it was
Then
one
he
of the main
got
cops
spun
in the
off
original
into SVU.
Yeah.
He's ubiquitous.
shooter game. But it was also
Yeah.
scary
I
too
feel
because
like
it would be
it
like
would be-
you know,
yeah.
like
Yeah,
Resident Evil
Are you
games
putting
where, like,
take
jump
the
out and
last
scare you
35
games.
minutes out in your edits, Tom?
While you were gone, we talked about
Tom, that was the other
episode.
guy. My name's Boiler.
Yeah, so LA was not nearly as disgusting this time as it was the last time they were there.
Yeah.
The outskirts could be though.
But they were right in the middle of it because they went to the Chinese theater last time.
Is that in the middle of LA?
It's in the middle of Hollywood, which is one section of the massive.
Maybe it got cleaner.
In how long do you think this is since Fry was last there?
Or maybe they got a new mayor.
A few years.
Years?
Yeah.
What about the mayor?
Maybe they got a new mayor. And
And cleaned it up a bit.
yeah, like a cleanup.
No, because the Pauly Shore
West Hollywood
Jury Duty
initiative.
2 is still
that's what they did in
showing
New York. So I don't know.
It still smells like pee.
only in the summer.
Mm.
I mean,
That's
it
half
has
of
to
the
be
year almost.
warm.
30th Century Fox. It was a very Futurama joke. I mean, not only because it's Futuramish, but also that's their like logo thing or whatever. So it was.
Was,
stupid. I don't know. I think that's a
That
stupid
was
joke.
not funny.
Not funny.
Not
and it's
funny.
Stupid.
Except
no-
that they have the spotlights to blind pilots and film that crash.
Actually, okay,
for a
you know what?
reality
Then they
show.
did make it funny. That was pretty good because especially, and I don't even know where reality TV is now. I don't know but all the
It's still on TV.
no, I mean all the back then that was the like horrible crashes or whatever. You know what I mean? It was like
Right.
right. Wasn't that what was going
There's
on back
a
then?
term
that
for
time.
that.
It's the
yeah,
2016
world's blankiest
election
blank.
cycle.
What's the term for that?
I'm trying to think of it also.
Was this
Anybody else got do it?
so? Zoid.
Shock something or something like that or like
Shockumentary.
Oh no, I mixed up my notes.
No,
I'm
that's
sorry.
World's blankiest blank.
Yeah.
I believe that was
Were you-
the last time you were on this
Yes,
show.
it was. Really? That's why I can't remember.
Yes.
what? Go ahead, Pete. What were you gonna say?
I at first I thought I have a note in here that says Mel Gibson's
Yeah, that's my
house.
next note too.
And then, so Mel Gibson's head comes out. I thought for a second that was the name of the nursing home that Harold Zoid was in, and then I was going to ask
It like
if
showed.
this was before or after Mel Gibson's horrible breakdown.
This is before.
This is way before because
Yeah.
if they're making Braveheart jokes,
Yeah.
he was still like
This is 2001.
He was still beloved. Nobody knew
Beloved.
that he was
that doesn't. They made a
yelling
joke
the
about
N-word
a
at his wife
Subaru
and
ad.
the Jew
that
cops
Ruth,
and whatever. Like
they made a joke about a Subaru ad with Ruth Gordon in it from the 70s in one of these shows. So I mean, the temporal nature of it doesn't matter.
I'm
They've
gonna
got-
go ahead and say that. Just remembering, like this
Like
is
when did he say sugar tits?
when was that when he got arrested or before?
That was
During, right?
That was
That was
that
part of
was the
tape.
one. I mean, that was the first
literally
one.
like maybe 10, 12 years ago.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that. Yeah, exactly. 2005 ish, right? Sounds
It
about
doesn't
right.
matter. This is 2001. I remember going through high school, not having a problem with Mel Gibson.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So you were in high school, and that hadn't happened yet.
I'm trying to track down this.
What Mel Gibson's
Yes.
fall down? All right. Hey everybody, let's find out what's next on my note. Hank Azaria is
What's horrible about
Make it to the air.
2000? Hey guys, just so you know, looks like it's about 2006.
So Horcha was right.
I
Yeah,
said-
good job.
yes.
11 years.
Here's another dumb joke. Parallel Universal Studios.
Yeah.
Those are
You,
good.
you know what a good joke
Stupid
was?
joke.
When Calculon asked Bender, "Have you got an extra go-to 10 line?"
I don't know what that means.
Bender knocks on the door
Yeah.
and comes in and says like he tries to get Calculon
The
to
second
let him
time
in. And the second time he does it right away, and Calculon's like, "What's wrong with you? You got an extra go-to 10 line?"
I always laugh at that because Calculon's funny, but I don't know what it means.
Just means he's got shitty bad code with a bad logic loop in it, so he's just repeating the same thing that he's doing.
Just say computer stuff.
It's computer stuff, but
Okay.
it was fun. Cuz it's like really old-timey computer stuff. I like it. You probably learned that on like an Apple IIe in the 80s.
so. Ebola is Spago. Yes.
Maybe.
Why?
I mean, really, it could have been anything.
What's Spago? That's a restaurant or something?
Yeah.
It's-
Is it like a fancy LA restaurant?
Wolfgang Puck's
it was like his first
flagship?
Yeah.
Who's
where-
Wolfgang Puck?
He makes the soups that you buy at the store.
A chef.
I don't buy soup. I
The
hate
guy
soup.
that invented the hockey puck, Horchie.
He's an onion cutter.
I
That sounds super racist. Is it?
No,
Is that
I
a
don't
no?
think so.
Oh
If it
man!
is, I
But I'll
made
tell
up
you what.
something.
The next guy that
Very
cuts me off in
proud of
traffic, get out of my way, you onion cutter!
it's I mean
Sounds like it's like at least derogatory.
Does Jason call people that?
No, he calls himself that.
Really? I like that. That's pretty good. I ate a Wolfgang Puck fried chicken sandwich in Las Vegas a couple months ago, and it was very good. I burned the shit out of my mouth on it. But
What does he taste like?
Chicken. It was a Wolfgang Puck chicken sandwich but the chickens speak with an Austrian accent. It's pretty.
I just
ridiculous.
assume that they interbreed Wolfgang Puck with chickens, and that's how they make their sandwich.
In a test tube, yeah. I mean, it's hard. Well, it's not a Larry Flint kind of thing.
So Zoidberg
Does a spit take that comes out of multiple points in his face.
I don't remember that.
It was pretty great.
Of his face, like different holes in his face.
Yeah, he does like.
Wait, why does he do a spit take? I don't remember.
Because he's surprised about something.
For $1 million.
Somebody offered him $1 million. What am I?
No,
kidding?
because Harold Zoid wanted to write and direct and star in a movie that Zoidberg was going to finance.
Oh, when he says you'll
because
need
he's his
to-
rich doctor
Okay.
nephew.
So we're at they go and have lunch with, they're writing back and forth. I really, I don't know why, but for some reason I enjoyed Harold Zoid's housemate or,
The old lady.
housemate. Just very long, drawn out.
What did she say? What did she say?
I meant to write it down in my notes, and I just
Yeah,
didn't.
she does
'cause I
say
was
something
like,
good, and I didn't write it down either.
Spluggle, blah, blah, blah.
Talking to
What is
fuck, I
that?
can't remember.
Or
yeah,
whatever.
shit,
Like when it's like it's a letter. It's a fan letter from my rich nephew,
Rich
rich
doctor
doctor
nephew.
nephew.
That was one of the one.
Scribbledy-guck.
Yeah. I was like, one of the four of us, or if I don't write this down, somebody will write this down. Rule number 1, write it down.
Yeah. Do it yourself.
DIY.
ABP,
What's that?
always be prepared.
OPP.
What's that?
I don't know. Are you down with it?
Depends on what it stands for. I think I've heard multiple interpretations of what those initials stand for. One might be the radio edit, so it's a whole different thing.
I think it stands for Old People Pride.
Does it?
Speaking of nursing homes,
Gobbledygook.
They're a wealth of knowledge.
so they're having lunch, and they're both play.
Is the
they're
bread
doing
free?
the Jack Ritter, like
Split in order.
Jack Ritter,
John Ritter,
it's John Ritter, and Jack Tripper.
Thank you, John Tripper,
I understand.
MD.
Yeah, I get how they're confusing. It's very lazy writing on the part of the creators of Three's Company.
John Tripper, BJ Honeycutt.
I don't think that's right.
Hmm?
Isn't that a bunny?
What? What's
BJ
it, honey?
Honeycutt?
PJ Bunny butt? No, what is no, isn't there a bunny?
If there isn't, there is now.
It does sound like a bunny name.
Does the word honeycut automatically...
And you will not get a cut of my children's book.
Does it bring images of pork chops to your mind?
PJ
Honeycut?
Yeah.
Bunny butt.
No, honeycut. What I think of.
Melons.
Ew.
What?
No, I
Are you thinking honeydew?
Yeah, probably.
I think of little tiny cereal pieces that were cut by bees.
Are you thinking of honeycombs?
Well,
Did you know me want honeycombs?
I feel like we're going off the rails in a good way this episode.
What beast?
in the honeycomb commercial,
creature,
like
he's
where you turn
scary,
into a honeycomb?
and like
Oh.
yeah,
Or
the
that-
kids.
that-
It's like
yeah, 'cause they
the
wanted
original
the-
hangry.
A what? Original hangry? Yeah. No, is,
But
or
wait,
is it
hang
after
on,
they eat
hang
it?
on. If the kids turn into honeycombs,
Dudes, beasts.
doesn't that mean that they're
Monsters.
going to get eaten by bees?
No, they don't turn into honeycombs. They turn into that creature.
I
Bees
couldn't
don't
think of
eat
what it
honeycombs.
was.
They, like,
yeah, they want.
shit 'em
it's
out.
like a. It's
Spit
like
into 'em.
it's like a bear / Tasmanian devil / dog.
and
type
it looks
creature.
like he's definitely gonna.
That three-way hybrid reminds me of a line from earlier when Zoidberg writes the letter. He goes, "Remember Norm and Sam and Sadie's boy?"
yeah, there are 3.
Oh yeah.
How does that work? Is one of them a step? Was it a polyamorous
One
relationship?
of them might be a cogenitor.
It's possible. Wow, where did you
Do
get
they
that word?
make-
Star
Maybe-
Trek.
Is it like a situation where there's like a clutch of eggs and then they just spray sperm on it?
I feel like Zoidberg said
I
that
haven't
before,
been in one
like-
of those for a long time.
Well, he's like
Not
all
since
these
my Catholic school days.
mixes of animal things.
He's not. Well, he's not a mix. I mean, their mating ritual was.
I mean, he's an alien, but he sort of has characteristics for all these other.
Speaking of which,
crustaceans.
Speaking of which, how come when Zoidberg does an ink thing or whatever, you don't have a problem with it?
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
What do you mean?
Well, that he's just kind of like a bunch of different shit.
Because it's consistent with his character.
I mean, yeah, he is. That's whatever his species is.
There are sea animals that have ink sacs and can squirt out ink. It's not bending the laws of physics.
You're right, and fuck you. That's
That's why,
hey, thanks, man.
That's a biological plausibility, is what that is, even within the confines of a cartoon.
Yeah.
Being able to fit.
Well, that's why I brought up like spraying sperm on eggs.
Well, the way you said that, Sarah,
Like
reminded me of how I was
bring that up anytime you want.
Or like frogs spawn.
Zoidberg is like the house alien, so that whenever there's a thing where it's like, here's a weird alien thing that's funny, like he can do it, and I'm waiting for you to go like, wait a second, so he can do this too. And when we get to the episode where he has a bunch of different organs and they do this, I don't know.
You know what bothered me?
What?
Harold Zoid had like 3 hairs on top of his head.
That bothered you?
He should have had 0 hairs. He's a fucking crustacean. That bothers me more than being able to generate ink out of some nondescript hole on the side.
I feel like that's creative license.
He was an actor. Don't you think maybe like they were like, maybe you should grow some hair? And at one point he tried to grow some hair and had like a surgery or something.
That was good.
I think if he was going to be that vain and play that part, he would have gotten a fuller head of hair.
Right, and then they probably fell out because he couldn't maintain it, and he ended up at the final curtain old actors home.
Speaking of which,
what the name of the home was?
Yeah.
The final curtain old actors home.
So anyways, they're at the restaurant. They're both, speaking of which, they're both pretending that they're not poor, and that's when Harold Zoid tells Zoidberg that he thinks he should do drama. Very abruptly, when he's like, "You're not funny," and I didn't write down any lines from this episode. I just wrote down things that happened.
No, that was at the restaurant.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm just saying, like when they were there, normally I'd be like, "This happened." Usually, when I take notes, it's the lines, and then the lines remind me of what happens. But I was like, there aren't any good ones, so I just wrote down what happened. And now every time I go to say like. And then he said this. I'm like, well, then he said this. That's not as funny because I can't remember what he said.
I thought that
delivery. You're missing delivery.
What do you mean?
Because you don't have the lines.
I'm missing delivery.
Right. It's not
because I don't have them to deliver.
Yeah.
Oh.
Why
is that like a stage? A stage term or whatever?
I don't know.
Oh.
All I know is you're supposed to run the entire gamut of emotions.
I wish there was a waiter walking right now and just spilling spaghetti on you.
That was great. That was adorable.
Is the thing that I was wondering is it looks like the Capitol Records building whenever they did the exterior shots in LA.
Yeah.
It had a big sign on top that said swap meet.
Yeah, I saw that.
I was just trying to figure out what that was. If that was a reference to something or just like, oh, this building's completely vacant now, and now it's just like a shitty dirt mall.
All I can think of is that is the California, not that swap meets don't happen everywhere, but that is the West Coast, not just even California, but the West Coast, like here's where a bunch of hippie ne'er-do-wells go to just like hang out and have a swap meet. Because
you mean it like the Berea Fairgrounds every Saturday
yeah,
and Sunday?
But West Coast, so like not hillbilly-ish. But
they are. I've been there. Kobe swap meets down in San Diego.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They're pretty crazy.
I mean, they're hillbillies. They're West Coast hillbillies.
But it's not just like it's actually very multicultural. It's very strange, and it's like there's junk, and there's vintage, and then there's
it's kind of
here's a package of 65 packs of tighty whitey underpants,
but
for a remarkably low price.
I feel like I was really snobby about that. Like I go to flea
Slightly
markets, like Cleveland flea markets are great. They're fun. You can go to them and get stuff
that you probably don't need.
That's the point.
It's saving it from
That's
a landfill,
America,
but it's also probably perpetuating someone's drug habit. So you really need to think about it ethically.
Too many onion cutters. Flea markets.
What would the too many chiefs and not enough Indians? What would the onion cutter piece be?
I don't know.
Like too many onion cutters.
What would
not enough
carrot peelers.
See, that's good. That could be good. But if you're the head onion cutter, what's the?
It would be
next-
too many onion cutters, not enough onions.
Too many onion cutters, not enough onion.
That'd be like too many cooks in the
peelers.
kitchen.
Stock.
Not enough stock.
Not enough stock, man? Or too much stock?
I like leaving the skin on my vegetables.
What do you mean, all your vegetables?
Well, I mean, like you're saying, carrot peelers, which I think is really obscure.
Well, I think he was just trying to think of...
I was a
I'm
carrot
attacking
peeler
you.
for 20 years. When Bush took office,
Don't worry.
we
The
were
first
forced
one.
out.
First one.
So, like, will you just eat an avocado straight up without scooping it out?
Will you
just,
leave
like,
Tom alone?
Like, just bite into stuff with skin on and all.
Local Carrot Peelers Union 442.
Wouldn't it be faster to say 44? Wait, double
442.
Double
I'm trying to
42
figure out
is
the
not
syllables.
faster.
442. Yeah, you're adding a syllable by saying 4, but that's
And 44, so just 442 would be the fastest.
What did I say? I don't even remember the number.
You said 442.
42?
Would that, or would,
4242.
or would that be?
Local Union 4242.
Yeah, wait. Yeah. So if you say 442, does that mean
44
4242? Does it mean
Oh,
442, or does it mean
Oh.
82?
Yeah, could be all
Whoa.
three of those. Or I mean, any of those three.
I think it might be like a regional thing.
It's 84.
I think they
Local
try and
Union
make
84.
it. I mean, it's probably something that gets kind of obscured. So like the Masons don't want you to know all their secrets. Neither do the Teamsters.
Nor the Carrot Peelers.
the onion cutters can't shut up about it.
Can you
Our mortal enemy is the onion cutters.
can you guarantee that?
Hmm?
Can you guarantee that? I can guarantee you anything you want.
I love that.
That was a good. That also reminded me of the that Tommy Boy moment where I don't remember the line when he's talking to Dan Aykroyd and something
I can
about
shit in a box and slap a
have
guarantee on it if
Thank
you want.
I like I feel like that's just an homage to your general thoroughly dishonest salesman or agent that's just like, yeah, I don't care.
Yeah,
I'm
Bender
just
got
gonna-
all Hollywood.
I'm
and
just
it was,
gonna,
and
immediately.
It was perfect for him because
Yeah.
he's Bender and he's
He's a
slimy,
thief
you know,
and a
yeah,
crook.
yeah. He's scurvy, not scurvy. What's the word I'm looking for?
Malleable.
What?
I think he's
Absolutely.
ethically flexible or morally flexible.
Yeah. Morally malleable.
Did
I thought you made up a word, and then now I heard what word you said, and I'm like, oh, I thought I heard like syllables, and I thought you just like, were like I'm gonna make up this word, and then I heard it again. I'm like, oh, you said malleable.
no, it's a real word.
I heard Malibu.
I was excited by
Barbie.
both, but I now I'm just kind of wish we would all sit around and just make up words for the rest of the podcast.
We can get there.
Flan trows.
Do you know when you like look at a word for like a really long time and it stops like being a word?
Or saying
mean
a
like-
word over and over again.
Yeah.
I've had that with the saying, not with the looking at the word. Like
Like tree.
if I
Duh.
feel like if I'm looking at it, it's gonna make sense. But if I keep saying it, then it's a different story.
Is tree pronounced tre in French?
I don't know.
I'm just,
Yes.
Wait, 3?
no.
Tom
not
speaks
three.
French.
You know what they call a tree in France?
What?
Lay tree.
That's a command.
Lay tree there.
Or
Tom,
a sexual orientation.
Tom, for our listeners that have listened to our episode from the beginning, speaks French. How do you
Yes.
say cheese? in French.
Oh, jeez. That is how you say cheese
That's
in
an
France.
appropriate joke for this episode.
Yeah, that's something Harold Zoid would come up with.
That was a 10-point callback.
So how come at no time during the production of The Magnificent Three,
Which is about a son, the vice president, who doesn't want to follow in his father's footsteps.
I gotta
who is
say,
the president.
everything from when they start making the movie on, I enjoyed. Like
really?
yeah.
Well, I mean, there are parts of it, like the whole thing where he's just like, no, you need to overact in every scene. But like, how come...
Throw some pies in there.
How come no one...
They wasted all their money on pies.
But why did no one recognize what a shit show
when we
it
used to live
was?
together? We wasted all our money on pies. And the heat
But
got
those,
shut
like,
off.
Gag pies they're not even like filled.
They're just like
cream.
whipped cream or whatever.
Whipped cream is expensive if you use the real shit.
Throw a
They
pie
probably
or
use
two,
shaving
for
cream,
God's
right?
sake.
Shaving cream.
Yeah, shaving
But
cream.
yuck. It'll get crusty on your skin and dry it out. It's soap, basically.
Yeah, but
It's an
it's
irritant.
Yeah, but comedy
sticky.
is yucky.
Ugh.
Yeah. But,
Comedy is sticky.
I mean, cream's not much better because as soon as it warms up and it's going to turn into like sticky sour milk,
Mm-hmm.
which has its own rewards. But I don't know why no one understood that it was going to be the shit show that it was during production. They're all just like, yeah, this guy's a genius. And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh no, it's a terrible, terrible thing.
Well, I mean, it was a talkie, and that was a hard thing for Harold Zoid to have
Understand?
to direct. I
He
mean,
only had like 100 years of watching them, though.
I like when he was yelling at Calculine to act more or whatever he said. It was
emote.
emote more, yeah.
Extras run around and wave your arms and make faces.
Yeah.
And then they're filming it, and the people are just
That's
sitting in the
that's
back.
probably my favorite part. Just
And
like,
the backdrop of the White House.
yeah, just like,
Just
like they're out on the
framing of
lawn,
it.
like yeah.
So
that
how,
was good.
Okay, so I'm not bothered by Zoidberg's ink sack, but the fact that he had a robot son in this,
Who did?
Zoid,
He had a robot son.
Calculon.
That's part of why Magnificent 3 was ridiculous.
I know, but again,
He's an actor.
Why did
He's playing a role. He's whatever. Who says he's a robot in the movie?
Right. The fact that they had Calculon as Harold Zoid's son in that movie is the whole joke of why it was just terrible. But they were just using Calculon to be... He was the current main star to bring in the publicity.
That's why I stopped watching the X-Files, because David Duchovny, robot. I can't believe that he's a man.
for a robot? He's sure masturbated.
Louis Anderson at Baskets, a robot.
I thought you were gonna bring up Robert Patrick, and
He actually is a robot.
he was a robot, and he was on
He played a
X-Files. He was the T-1000.
Yeah.
Or according to Pete, the T2.
Oh, dude,
Me
when you said Robert Patrick, I pictured
Filter?
That is...
because of that episode, the Electric Guy episode.
Isn't
Isn't
he's
that a
thinking
different-
about Patrick
with,
Dempsey.
Why did you think
His
of Filter?
brother
His
is
brothers.
from Filter.
What?
Filter.
That's his brother?
Yeah, they
Shut the
grew
fuck
up. They grew up in
No,
North
there's an
Homestead.
episode of the
Yeah.
X-Files where they play the Filter
I
song.
thought it was Wesley.
It's Giovanni
Yeah, I thought it was
Ribisi.
Wesley, too.
Wesley.
There's an episode of the X-Files. Giovanni Ribisi and Jack Black are the two kids, and the one gets the
Yeah.
electric powers, and they play that Filter song over and over again. So that's what I thought you meant in that episode of the X-Files.
and
They're
in
brothers, Robert Patrick, and the guy from Filter, the Hey Man, Nice Shot guy, is
Yeah, I wish you could remember his
blah,
name.
blah, blah, Patrick. It's Patrick.
Nobody talks
Youngstown
about the
Patrick.
fact that they both have names that start with R. That's a little precious. Like they're two brothers within a couple years.
I hate
of
when
each
parents
other.
do that.
What is his name from Filter?
Names that
Richard?
start with the same
Richard
shit.
Patrick, yes.
Yeah, okay.
And Robert is the actor.
My apologies to Richard Patrick because I know you listen to this podcast. I'm so sorry we did not remember your name.
When you said when you said Robert Patrick, I
There
thought
would
you
be
were talking
like-
about Robert Pattinson or
if
whatever.
your parents
or what, is that his
named
name? What's the
Robert
guy from?
Paddington Bear?
Yeah, and I was like, oh, did he play a robot in a movie? I'll watch that. He was good in that Transmetropolitan or Mopolis, whatever that movie was.
Is it the one with the puppets that had sex?
It's the one where he's in the
Puppets.
limo the whole time, and then
Wait, isn't Robert Pattinson the one that was the vampire?
yeah, but I've never.
That's technically a robot.
I mean,
I don't know what the word technically means, guys.
What
yeah,
is it?
it's the-
Transmetropolitan?
Transamerica?
It's he's in a limo, and then at the end, who's the guy from? He's
Detective Munch.
who's the
Trans what?
the guy from American Splendor that's in every other movie too.
Paul Giamatti?
Yeah, and he kills him at the end. You guys ever seen that movie?
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, who gives a shit? You're never gonna watch it.
Wait, what is it? What do you?
I'm fucking looking it up.
Phone
Talk
booth?
amongst yourself.
Oh, let's talk. Can we think of any other celebrities that have names that sound similar to Robert or Richard Patrick?
Yeah, that's actually I like that game.
I just that whole preciousness of naming the kids with the same phonetics. Like if your sister's name was
Dylan
Tamara,
McDermott or Dylan Mulrooney?
Dermot Mulroney or the Conan skit where he's like
Dermot.
Bill Pullman or Bill Paxton.
Oh, no.
Oh,
I know.
R.I.P. Which one though, guys?
One of them, for sure.
Paxton, right?
Yes, he's the one who unfortunately passed away due to complications from surgery.
Yeah, that sucks. Too soon.
Game over. Anyway,
I don't know him.
While you're looking up Twilight Saga actors,
Oh yeah, Twilight. Thanks.
Lowe's Gaddafi's Chinese Theater is where the Magnificent Three premiere was. And they managed to clear the entire room but not realize it until the very end. And my favorite part of that whole scene was Calculon does a full rotation with his head to look at the room instead of getting up and turning around. He just spins the head all the way around and he's like, I need my $1 million back.
There's a whole deleted scene right before it goes into the next act that they're in the movie theater and Bender ends up admitting that he told Calculon that he was guaranteed to win the Oscar if he did this movie, and it was so he would pay for the movie. And Harold Zoid at this time didn't even know that Zoidberg didn't pay for the movie, and then Zoidberg admits that he's a fraud, and like that they cut that whole scene out.
Really? What was Zoid's reaction to Zoidberg being a fraud?
He got upset, and then the next scene is the Daily Variety spinning in, which I paused it to look at all the headlines on it. They're great.
What are they?
Probably the best part of the show, and you don't even get
Yes.
to...
Yeah.
The top thing is Oscar noms announced, and then underneath it, also Oscar nominations announced.
Yeah.
And then-
I caught that one.
Yeah. And then the NAAPC complains of low computer hirings instead of the NAACP. And then the one at the bottom is, it's Fox exec back sex pick, flicks lacks crucial bucks, stock sinks axe prez. So it's like that Hicks that or it was Sticks, Nicks, Hicks picks or whatever, like that one. It was some headline. It was like these rural people were like trying to not back a movie, like a documentary about like their rural area or whatever.
Okay.
So it's like all X's and everything. So it's like Fox exec EX backs BAX sex picks PIX flicks LAX CRUA. So it's all ends it all in X. So it's like trying
That's
to
like
say
a really
yeah.
good like Simpsons headline, you know?
They did it in one of them. I can't remember
that's
which.
why I'm thinking
what
of
it
it.
Same
was
headline?
No. Like a
It was
similar
like cops
thing.
that Rex. It was like maybe like the Rex episode or the Rex.
They had. I
Bannon.
looked it up on Wikipedia, and they had a whole bunch of like different things that they used it in, like just different entertainment things.
Like
and
loose
I can't
lips,
remember.
sink ships sort of thing.
Yeah,
Just there's a lot of
yeah.
alliteration. and
I found the
consonants.
movie. It's Cosmopolis.
Oh,
Yeah.
Momopolis.
It was on Netflix for a long time. I don't think it is anymore.
I don't think I'll miss it.
I don't know. It's pretty good.
Sure. There's lots of good
You'd
stuff
like
out
it.
there.
You'd like it. I don't think most people would like it, but I think you would.
Nobody has a magical chest cavity? Or does that only happen at the end where Paul Giamatti takes
Yeah, and that's how
he
he
actually
kills.
crawls out of Robert Pattinson's chest and shoots him. It's crazy.
And then afterwards, he's like, "I could have done it from inside." No, no, actually, that's Pete. He could have done it from inside. No.
The whole time.
So, why
What a
did
waste
they
of
keep,
90 minutes.
Why do they keep shitting on Sylvester Stallone? Like, I have my own reasons,
I don't think they were
But,
shitting
like-
on him. I think they were just poking fun because he's a big goon.
but he was
They
dead.
also made Jack Nicholson a gorilla.
They made fun of him
Is that
too,
who
but
that? I
was also,
forgot who the name was. I couldn't
So-
hear it.
That was
Jack
also
Nicholson's
just like,
DNA was reconstituted into the body of a gorilla.
Ah, that makes a lot more sense.
And also, we skipped over the whole part that actual Calculon said he will kill Bender,
If he doesn't get his
Zoidberg,
money
and
back.
Harold Zoid if he doesn't win an Oscar.
Oh, okay. So it's not the money. It's the,
And then they decide to rig the Oscars
yeah.
because he actually, Calculon won a Golden Globe for the performance.
And what was Calculon's response to that? Sarah, wait,
It's the Emmy of
take
Movie
a swig
Awards.
of wine and then say his line.
So that was not the real Joan
Well, you have
Rivers.
to hold a ventriloquist dummy.
That was not the real
I feel
Joan
like
Rivers
there's a
on the
lot
red
of moments.
carpet, right?
What's that?
That wasn't the real.
No,
Joan Rivers.
it was
The
Tress
Milo
McNeil.
ventriloquist
Was it?
dummy.
It was Tress McNeil.
She did
Yeah.
a really good
Great
job.
Joan Rivers, like that's.
Do you feel like Joan Rivers
Do
got
you
redeemed
feel-
at the end of her life because she really?
Yes.
I think her reputation was just like, you're a really awful, bitchy person that just makes fun of people's clothes.
For somebody my age, I didn't know Joan Rivers as the yes.
As the lady who
Tom
had.
just shook his head at me. And I'm
See who was in the
shut down
row when
E.
they showed the seated crowd at the Oscars?
who was in
There's
the what?
Amy and Kiff were there together. Zap Brannigan was there. I forget
I
the
missed
old
that.
lady. Who's like the old lady that had
Oh,
to get
Tom
on a
knows her
10,
name.
15
Picture
to
your
not
Google.
late?
Amy's side boob.
Oh, no. Oh, you're thinking of
That was definitely there.
Penelope, I think.
Is that?
her
Oh yeah,
name, right?
Penelope.
Is that
Something. So
what her
she
name
was
is
there with
again?
Zap.
Amy Malleable.
There was Edith Head with Jar Jar Binks.
Oh yeah.
Both their
Head
heads.
jokes.
Yep.
Um,
And jar
and
jokes.
then Marbo was
Yeah.
there.
Head
Mhm.
jar jokes.
And keep going.
And then it looked like a Bill Cosby.
Pauly
and
Shore
Camille.
and
I don't think it was Pauly Shore.
no,
was
Pauly
Yeah,
it?
it was.
Shore
Pauly
and
Shore and his ex,
and his ex,
What's his name?
Michelle.
Michelle.
Rochelle.
Interesting. I didn't see them in that row. I totally missed them. It was an interesting crowd there for
You know
sure.
what? I'm really, really mad that we did not get to see who won the best cinematography in a non-visible spectrum, though.
I missed that line.
Yeah. Conversely to the excellent Joan Rivers impression, whoever did Billy Crystal sucked.
It was
It was a really bad Billy Crystal impression.
Phil Lamar.
Was it?
Yeah.
Not good. I don't know if it was like done on purpose
It
to
was
be that not good.
I don't know. It was,
I didn't. No, it didn't hit any of the notes. Like, why you have Hank Azaria there for God's sakes? He's already halfway to Billy Crystal.
Well, I
with the
think they
Harold
were trying to
Zoid
use
voice.
as much of their regular cast as they could. I thought it was. I thought
Yeah,
it was
I
an
would like to know what's
impersonation.
going
you
on
know?
in everybody else's lives as to why this episode is so lackluster.
You mean when they were making it? Like,
Yeah.
was everybody just? You know what?
Kabuto's on
Who knows?
vacation.
Everybody, either maybe all the
Somebody's
good people
kid
were on
died,
vacation.
something.
Yeah, or or some kind of tragedy, or maybe that was the week that like they found out like half of their benefits got cut or something, and they were like, that or it could have been somebody's like nephew was trying to get started in writing or whatever, and they were like, you gotta put his script in or whatever, and they tried to punch it up but they couldn't. Like
I always knew I'd die
like
in a
somebody's-
pit, but I didn't think it would be a pit full of tar.
did Leela say that or Fry?
Fry said that.
You know what?
No, Leela said it.
I thought Fry said it when he was trying to eat his shoe.
I feel like
it
we
was
skipped
Leela.
over everything. Like, how did they get in the tar pit again? Like, who
They
cares?
tried to
'cause
they
she
tried to
was being
land.
cheap.
Yeah, she didn't want to pay for the valet.
She was taking like a mail roll.
She didn't want to take. She didn't want to pay for parking.
That's a construct, but yeah, okay.
Look, parking in LA is A, fucking difficult, and B, fucking expensive, especially at an event like that.
If I have heels on, we're gonna valet.
Really?
Was it
No,
only like
that's a
$2 to
lie.
pay
I
the
just
valet?
On an- on
that
an-
was a construct.
On an onion cutter's salary? Can you pay a valet in
I
onion
don't know,
leavings?
I splurged and valeted at Patty Smith, so
At what?
Patty Smith.
Oh. Where was that was recently. That was at one of the places downtown, like the Playhouse
Patty Smith
Square
was
something.
downtown?
But yeah,
On St. Patty's Day.
no.
No, that'd be awesome though. I'm in every city on St. Patrick's Day.
She is everywhere.
Locational.
She's got really fast horses to get from town to town to
Oh
town.
my God, I'm gonna go. This has been real.
Have we gotten to the minor technical awards yet?
No.
Yeah,
Why
we
don't you
covered
tell us
them.
about
We
them?
actually found
Like
out
writing?
who won all of them, and
We're up to writing right now.
so wait, how? Never mind.
Everybody applauds when Zoidberg dumps Billy Crystal's head.
No, before that though, God, one of my favorite parts is the soft drink ad placement, and they have
best soft drink ad placement.
Star Trek: The Pepsi Generation. They call me Mr. Pibb,
That was great.
and Snow White and the 7-Ups.
And then there was a calculator.
I'm just now realizing they were all pops, or for those of you
Soft
not in our
drinks.
region, sodas.
Soft drink. They are
I
soft
call
drinks.
it soda, and that people have always called me out on that.
What do you mean when you call it soda?
Yeah.
I got used to it in Georgia. I started just
You're supposed
saying
to call
soda,
it Coke
which you're
down
supposed
there.
to call it Coke down there. Yeah, but I felt like I'm not going to call it Coke because it's not Coke if it's not Coke. So I would start to say soda because I'm like, they'll know what that means. But if I say pop, even though they've seen TV before or a movie, they know what pop is.
Wait.
They would be like,
Yeah,
pop, why y'all call it that? No.
You're getting
Sorry,
upset
sorry. It was a
that
great
much
save.
of the southern part of this country is hung up on misinformation about soft drinks as opposed to some
Is
other
there
topics.
anything else going on that people are disagreeing about?
Wait. Okay, so I don't watch a lot of award shows. That's not my jam. But
I love
so,
them, but go ahead.
Okay.
I mean, to be honest, the only reason why people are act is to get the respect and admiration of people in their
But
acting
you have
community.
to understand, Sarah hates pageantry.
Let's rig it.
I just
That's
don't
good
like
as well. Or I don't know.
famous
But go ahead,
people
Sarah.
that much.
You don't like seeing the just the pomp and
Like
garbage
if you're gonna watch people sucking their own dicks, it's gonna be much more literal than like
Yeah.
that sort of thing
for
where it's
real.
metaphorical.
Like
you want to
get
see
it.
some ribs
Like,
removed
close the
and
door.
yeah.
There's no other point to life but fame. That's what I believe. I'm sorry.
What's like the life expectancy of a presenter?
On the Oscars?
Yeah. Because they like do runs, right? As far as I can remember.
You mean like the person who hosts the entire show?
Yeah.
Oh, they pick it year by
Yeah,
year.
it picks year
depends
by
on the
year.
ratings. It depends how it goes.
Like Billy Crystal had a long run. He comes back.
Right.
Whoopi Goldberg had a pretty good run.
it could be one. It could be one award show. It could be 3 award shows. It all depends on how the ratings
They
do.
threw
and the
Ricky
critics.
Gervais out at the audience once, and that really didn't go
Yeah,
well.
they did Seth MacFarlane once, and that did not go well.
People didn't like that.
Didn't Amy Poehler and Tina Fey go over pretty well?
Well, they did like.
they
2
did the
years?
Emmys.
I think did
God.
Steve
Amateur
Carell,
mistake.
didn't he do it? Or maybe Stephen Colbert,
Stephen Colbert did.
Neil Patrick Harris.
Yeah, he did the
Yeah.
Tonys.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
like a quadruple threat, that guy.
It's all about who's relevant at the time and who they think. Like, if somebody hosted the year before and they did a really good job, that's going to be the number one person.
Chris
back.
Rock's
If
been on it a
not-
couple times, I thought.
Yep. He was great.
Why do you ask?
Oh, I don't know. Like, because I feel like, didn't Billy Crystal do it forever?
He was
a long
for
time.
a
It was
while,
like, yeah,
and
he
during
was-
this time, it was like he was like a
Who
constant
did it
Oscar
after
host.
him?
I think Letterman, which went famously badly.
I don't remember that.
Who was the long? Who else did that for like long?
I feel like,
Term.
who's like the number 2 Billy Crystal that was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
doing it a lot? Was it Chris Rock? Because he did it a few times. Jon Stewart did one. I remember that. That was
I
great.
think Whoopi Goldberg might have done a few.
Yeah, I was gonna say Whoopi.
maybe that's who it was. Somebody from his group of
So
like
was
their
it
old.
Rosie O'Donnell or Ellen DeGeneres? They might have done some of them.
Yeah.
Possibly another famous lesbian. I don't know.
You Rant. That was it. It's just those 2.
They're the only ones? Surely there must be more.
No, there aren't. And stop calling me more.
Did you write that down? Is that what you're looking?
No, I'm
we
just.
we did get a really front and center robot from Zoidberg. Where he's like the soda
Oh, I missed
machine
that.
robot.
Oh.
In fact, I think that was during the announcement of the nominees. It's like, or the soda machine robot.
What is the robot name?
Boxy, my favorite
Yes.
fucking character
Boxy.
in all the Futurama.
Boxy reminds
beep.
me of a garbage can, which also reminds me of what is the Star Wars android that looks like a...
Oh, the one that walks on the legs.
yeah,
with
because
the-
I always
and
see it
round
like
back and forth.
makes me laugh.
Trash
every
unit?
time.
And he goes like womp, womp.
It's like a
womp. Yeah,
square
no, it's
box.
I forget what his
with
name is.
No,
two
it
Yeah,
legs.
he has
looks
a
like
name.
garbage
Yeah,
can.
he
Yeah,
has
but
a
he has
name.
like a
They all
trash
have
unit.
If I was as much of a Star Trek or Star Wars nerd as I am a Star Trek, I would know because I've heard the name.
I feel
if
like
Dan
that's like a
Hallahan was here right
play
now,
off
he
of
would
that.
know it. Oh no, it absolutely is. It 100%.
Gotta be.
It's definitely.
As soon as I was
And,
like, oh, that's like
Yeah,
the Star Wars
I mean, because
robot.
there's so many.
But I giggle like every time they get
Yeah.
thrown in
But I
the
just like him-
transport, and I'm like, that's a garbage can.
Yeah.
It's like
Well-
they ran out of money on their like budget, and they're like,
It was this.
just
it-
throw some
they
legs
did. It
on
was
it.
the 70s. They had $5 and they made.
They
a
were in
movie.
Tunisia, for God's sakes.
I liked Mark Jones
too.
in How Beige Was My Jacket. Like the most boring movie starring the most boring white person name.
Is
I like.
were
that-
were
go
any
ahead.
of you surprised that Zoidberg was successfully able to hijack the entire like that would be something that he would fuck up spectacularly, and he managed to pull off giving the award to Harold Zoid.
He
Like-
can be
like-
on it if he needs to be.
You think?
If the story calls for it, Zoidberg's on.
Like when he has to be flexible like an animal at the
Yeah.
pet show or something?
I love that they brought up the Marissa Tomei reference, though. It was like, you read the wrong name. Shut up.
And didn't that just happen again this year? Didn't was
well,
it,
I
was
brought
it
up
Warren Beatty or Richard Gere?
No.
Warren Beatty and
the
Faye Dunaway?
Faye
Yeah.
Dunaway.
Faye Dunaway read the wrong thing. Like it was the wrong envelope or whatever. But that what I brought up was that proves that Marissa Tomei actually won the Best Actress award, because if there was a mess up,
That's what they
they
say.
obviously would have stopped it and made sure it was right.
You think?
Yes.
That was 20-some years ago. Do you feel like this episode was supposed to end up being
Sounds like a Marvel character.
critical
Yeah, absolutely.
of the
or
of the
like,
Hollywood establishment and how like
Rex Band.
people are willing to just roll over? Like I feel like it was trying to be very critical, and it was just such a lame duck, like wishy-washy attempt at it. Are you guys following like the fact that like when they announced the wrong thing, the audience is just kind of like, okay, we'll go along with it because nobody wants to stand
know
up
what?
and say,
You know
no.
what? Me want honeycomb.
From what I gather, Hank Azaria had like loved the character Zoidberg and was like, if I'm ever gonna voice anybody on
Oh, really?
Futurama, I
didn't know
want to
that.
do
That's awesome.
a relative of Zoidberg. So I think they wrote an
Kinda wrote an episode,
episode
like, hey, we'll have
to
his
have this
uncle
uncle
and-
and everything.
Yeah.
And I think when they were writing it, like everything was going, I think it seemed in theory really good, but then when it all played out, I don't
It
think
is
it
in
was
theory
like,
like a
it's not a terrible
fun
episode,
idea for an
but
episode, and it's not
Just
the
the
worst.
execution's kind of
yeah, it's not
Yeah, it just could
spread
have
out
been a little
enough.
punched up.
It's trudgy.
Yeah,
Right.
It could have been a little snappier, just maybe thrown in
I
some.
mean, according to Sarah, you need to be really wasted for it to be actually funny.
you know what?
Well, I
maybe
really
that's
only laughed like at the hollow
Mhm.
disc.
Yeah, close shave.
That's it.
that's it. None of the later stuff when they were doing the bad movie.
None
no,
of-
no, I
none
didn't
of-
think the bad movie was funny at all.
Oh.
None of Bender becoming
Hollywood
a hot water
stuff,
heater
or-
all
At
of a
the
sudden
hot water,
somehow.
I thought that the calculon scene
Okay.
was funny.
Total bullshit.
I'm also trying to
We didn't.
remember
We
what I-
glossed over that whole thing. Honestly,
Yeah, kind of skipped it. In this gem of an episode, that's
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, to be honest, my favorite part of the whole thing was that they had an award for best cinematography in a non-visible spectrum. Like, I thought that was
that's funny.
hilarious, and that
funny.
says a lot about
Yeah.
how this episode is.
That says a
You
lot
know-
about
Right.
the stuff that you appreciate in
You know what I
Futurama, which
just
is why you like the
realized?
show, because they
Right.
throw stuff like that in there.
Fry barely in this episode. Leela barely in this episode.
okay,
The
there you go.
professor
Yeah,
barely in this
there you
episode.
go.
Yeah, the cutaways weren't even.
Is the professor
They-
in this
relevant.
episode?
I
They
think.
weren't that
I think
good?
when they
They weren't that good.
first come back to Planet Express at the beginning, when
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 they're having
Hermes
the-
calls
the
Zoidberg
meeting.
Oh, yeah,
penniless
the
lobster.
normal beginning meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what it was? Is Zoidberg...
Oh, he has the holodisc.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Are you
Takes
sure
it-
that was the
Yeah,
professor?
absolutely, because he blows the dust off it.
No, it was
Sure.
no, it was that guy, the old guy with the big thick glasses.
Yeah, and the long lab coat and the
The
pajamas.
slippers?
Yeah, he had slippers.
Definitely slippers.
Mr.
Nibbler.
Fake
He had a
hips.
giant cannon coming out of his chest and it would destroy everyone.
Bosco. You're thinking of
I'm
Bosco.
thinking of Bosco. That's very possible. He's that guy. Always wore a shirt.
Do you think Boxy? Do you think his name came from Bosco?
No, I think it's because he looked like a box.
He is a little boxy.
Hey, he does.
Yeah.
And he beeps a lot.
I don't know. That's about it, right? I mean,
Yeah, I
done
mean
with
this
fucking
kind of this one.
horrible episode.
I'm glad we had an interesting guest like you to discuss this shitty episode, Sarah. You made it fun. Thanks for coming on again.
Yay. I did it. Sorry, I was
Um,
looking up the Star Wars garbage can
Oh,
character.
thank you. Yes. Did you find his name?
If you
No,
put
'cause
Star Wars
garbage can was as
Jar
far as
Jar
I
Binks
got.
comes
Oh,
up, right?
did you just find?
Gar Binks.
Is there anywhere on the internet that you'd like people to come and find you?
Never. No, I have Instagram, it's public, and I have Twitter, and it's public, and they're both at Isenhart. But like I said the last time, they're pretty boring.
Sometimes you might get pictures of us on them.
Most
though.
of them are accidental pictures that she takes with her phone when it's in her pocket. And they're automatically loaded
That's
to
a separate.
Instagram.
That's a separate.
like
one.
pictures of chopped onions and whatnot. But
A
wait,
lot of
It's a whole bunch of
onions.
black just images or like something like out of focus, like on a table or something.
but it's spelled out eyes and heart like
EYESN.
For both your
HEART.
Twitter and your Instagram is spelled out. There's times when I go to
Continuity.
spell your real name and I forget because I'm so used to, which I've brought up before on like the other week.
I don't think it was.
I'm
you
so
know,
used to people's Instagram and Twitter handles that like I
Right.
forget. There's people we're friends with in real life that like when I think of them, I think doop-a-doo, like I think of
Right.
their like thing, or in your
Yes.
case where it's spelled differently, but it's still pronounced, the same
Right.
or whatever.
All I know is I had to correct the spelling of your name on our spreadsheet.
Yeah.
From a
I didn't do it.
possibly Israeli spelling.
Did I do it? I guess it was me then. If it wasn't you,
I guess process of
wait a
elimination.
second. Was
What does
it
that
you,
mean?
Sarah?
It was
have-
EISENHART. So it was
So I
like
did
the
a
Jewish
combination
version.
of.
Oh no, that's like the German.
Well,
But it starts
yeah.
with an
I-
I.
Yeah, it would be like EISENHART.
But your-
DT.
Your actual last name starts with an I.
It starts with an I.
ISENHART.
It
Yep.
starts with an I, and that rhymes with pie, and that stands for trouble. Trouble in River City. Anybody? No, whatever.
I got it.
Where else? No, I don't really have anything. I have a website of art that I'm not making currently. That's
Tell us
cool.
about that.
SarahIsenhart.com. It's real.
Is
real
that the
simple.
funny spelling or the German spelling
No,
or the
it's-
Jewish spelling or the real spelling?
It's
It's a bunch of canvases that she accidentally paints in her
Blank.
pocket.
Can you spell
or
it
leaving
out?
it on the table in off focus
And it's
pictures.
Sarah with an H or without an H?
Can you
With
spell
an
it out for
H.
us, or just spell another word that you like to spell?
And then
Like
I have
malleable.
a secret account on Instagram where I just actually photograph vintage record label designs.
Wait, what's a secret Instagram account, and how come I don't have one?
Called Labels, which I really like.
But which means that it's secret that it's not actually her.
Is that the secret?
It's the
It's like I'm not associated with it,
Right.
but I run it.
Is it a secret?
So
Like
this
we
isn't
find
a
out you're a
secret
Bob at the
anymore.
end, and then it turns out you've been killing everybody,
Right.
or his
Well,
spirit,
Sarah
or
Isenhart-
whatever
Like
that
the
movie meant.
Madame
Sarah
Gao
Eisen-
of
I've
the
actually,
hand.
my first and last name have been changed, so you have no idea who I am.
It's a label. Your label.
It's
now?
actually her real name is Sarah without an H. Eisenhart E.
All right.
That'd be the best name change ever, though.
I'm
No one
real-
would suspect that.
I'm real interested to see what you edit this thing into, Tom. Thanks for coming on.
It'll be hello. Thanks for coming on.
And then that's the end. We can be reached at slurmcastpod@gmail.com. Slurmcast.com has links to all of our episodes and other things. We're on Facebook. We are at SlurmcastPod on Twitter and Instagram.
We're one of the 33 podcasts to be streaming in Cleveland.
Yeah, we're on a list Thanks for that shout out, Nikki Delamont at cleveland.com. We can be phoned or texted at 216-438-1077. That's the right number.
That is the right number.
And if you do leave a voicemail, there's a chance you'll wind up on a voicemail episode at some point. So treat that information
it's going to happen. Leave
as you will.
Call in and say some stuff.
I think
you can find me if you take a big whiff, and if you can smell hot dog breath, just follow that, and eventually
look for the
you get stronger
ketchup
as you go on.
And please rate or review us on iTunes. We love seeing what people have to think about the show, and every little bit helps get us noticed more in the grand scheme of things, and we appreciate your listenership. So have a great week, and we'll talk over you soon again. Bye.
We're gonna we're gonna talk all the things to you. Go.
Stay away from those tar sharks.
Yeah.
Why did the chicken cross the road? Because there was an onion cutter behind him.
Oh, boy. That one's going to enter the lexicon pretty quick. I have a feeling it'll stick around.